Hey, Smart News, a quick update on a major story that has the potential to impact every single one of us. And I'm not talking about the pandemic. I'm talking about your access to the internet and networks that allow you to live your life as you know it. What I'm talking about is described as a software vulnerability or a security flaw. And one top US cybersecurity defense official is describing this flaw as one of the most serious I've seen in my entire career, if not the most serious. So, what's going on? Before we launch into exactly what's taking place here, I want to talk to you a little bit about how networks or websites are developed. These are some things that I didn't know until I started to try to build a digital platform through Smarter News. And I'm still an amateur, but I want you to think about things this way. Developing a web platform is sort of like pulling together a quilt. You're pulling together pieces of fabric that other people have developed, and you're pulling it together for an experience for the user or for yourself. So often there are issues with different pieces of fabric that you're kind of working around. You're adapting to your own needs. Sometimes you need to improve, sometimes you need to update. And this can be tricky, but it's sort of normal maintenance. Well, every once in a while, you discover that one piece of fabric could be really problematic. And that's what we have here. This security flaw, this software vulnerability is like a piece of fabric in a quilt that is easily frayed. And once one piece of fabric is easily frayed in a quilt, it can affect the whole thing. So that's what we're talking about here with the security flaw. And in order to fix the security flaw, we have to create a patch on the quilt so that it doesn't affect the whole thing. So let me take it one step further. Let's say we all have quilts in our house, right? We all have quilts and we're kind of using all the same fabric. There's only so much fabric in the world to pick from, so we're all kind of using pieces of the same thing. And in this particular case, we're all using the same square, or it's very, very, very frequently used. And that's why government officials are so concerned, because a lot of people have this particular software code available in their networks, and it's easily exploited. So once somebody, let's say a state-sponsored hacker, has access through this vulnerable piece of code, they almost instantly have access to the entire network, and it becomes a really big threat. So there's a flurry of activity around this to try to make sure that networks all over the place have the right security patch and are finding, when they're looking at their quilt, where their vulnerability is. So I want you aware of that. The little piece of software is called Log4j. So if you see anything related to that, no, it's connected to this big question about cybersecurity. You know, separately, there was a really big story last week about Amazon. I don't know if it affected you. Amazon experienced an outage, and it also experienced an outage just yesterday on a few of its kind of connecting platforms. And a friend of mine described it in such a great way. She said, once an outage happens, it's like an earthquake, and there's a lot of aftershock. So you could expect to see these sort of outages continuing as the fix goes into place. That's a separate issue. But you have two really big issues. You have this cybersecurity issue that really puts a lot of different networks vulnerable to basically bad guys that can infiltrate it and affect the way that we live and our personal information. And then you have this other story about Amazon that's an outage that's separate from that, that's just a reminder about even the platforms that we depend the most on can be vulnerable at times. Quick story. I was in Walgreens last night with my 5-year-old. Walked in, there's a big long line. There was a lady that was really angry. I thought, what's going on? I asked the guy at the register what was happening. And he said, our whole computer system decided to update just suddenly. He said, I don't know why. He's like, that computer's back up. These aren't, but they will be, and it'll be fine. And I didn't really think anything of it. But having read more and learned more about this particular threat today, I have no way of knowing if that's connected. But here's a reminder of a couple of things. Number one, if you have any sort of information that you think is critical to your life and it's only accessible through the computer, it's a good reminder to write it down, keep it somewhere safe. And the second thing is, if you see any updates, I know those can be really annoying, but if you see an update, it could be that they're related to a security issue on a network that you're using or even a device that you have. And so it would probably be appropriate in this environment to act quickly. I'm not sharing this news to scare us, right? I don't want to share scary news just for the sake of scaring people, but I think this is actually something to be aware of. It's a very busy time of year, and we're all counting on our lives sort of rolling along as they would be, right? With a lot of holiday cheer, by the way. But this is a good reminder just to have a backup and to update when you can. I'll keep you posted on this. We have more on our website on this story. And as I see more information come available, I'll let you know. Questions and comments, please tell me. I love hearing from you guys, and more at smarternews.com. Have a great day.